Hello everybody and welcome to another Nephilim Builds. It's Pride Month and we're celebrating by making various LGBTQIA+ characters in media, because fuck Trump. Today we're going to study a sutra as YanShen from Thousand Autumns. As always, keep in mind that these videos are about capturing the spirit of the character rather than capturing their abilities perfectly. With that said, let's address the obvious. Don-May wikis are still the absolute worst wikis on the internet. I mentioned last year that I don't have the time or attention span for books anymore, and like Scum Villain, Thousand Autumns only got one season. Unlike Scum Villain, I couldn't find a good fan-made audiobook. But worst of all, the Thousand Autumns wiki gave me nothing. I checked 2 different sites, and on both of them all I got was Shen Qiao has this sword, Wushin has this sword, and he can hypnotize people with his voice. You Don-May fans do realize that some people actually care about the combat, right? Thank God the Dongua cooked or I would have had nothing to work with. Oh, also, yeah, they're gay. I know China is super strict on homosexual content, so most Chinese BL can't outright say that it's gay, but nobody accidentally reads Chinese BL. You all know what you're here for. With all that said, let's go in blind with Shen Qiao. Using the standard pointer area with the 15 to dexterity. Shen Qiao is a stupid good swordsman. I got hyped just watching him do katas. Next we'll put the 14 to wisdom. Being blind was barely a nerf. At 1013 intelligence, he memorized his part of the celerity in an instant. We'll put the 12 into constitution and then the 10 to charisma. He doesn't really have much of a personality, but he's very polite. Lastly, with dumb strength, we won't need it. For species, we're going to go with human. We'll get resourceful, pick perception, and take the lucky feat. We'll make a custom background putting our increases into dexterity and intelligence. We'll also take Arcana and Religion, Calligrapher's Supplies, and the tough feat. Moving on to class, we're going to start off as a monk. We'll get strength and dexterity saving throws and take athletics and acrobatics for skills. We'll also be proficient with monk weapons and the flute. Does he play a flute? I don't know, but I have to take something. At level 1 we'll get martial arts and unarmored defense, and level 2 we'll get monk's focus, unarmored movement, and uncanny metabolism. At level 3 we'll get deflect attacks and our monastic tradition. We're going to go with Kensei for Path of the Kensei, picking longswords and painter supplies. You know, for giggles. At level 4 we'll get slow fall and take the observant feat, routing intelligence, and expertise in perception. We're now going to multi-class the fighter, getting light and medium armor, shields, and all weapons. At level 1 we'll get second wind in our fighting style, taking blind fighting. Yeah, he gets his sight back, but it's clearly a skill he has. We'll also get weapon mastery, taking longswords. At level 2 we'll get action surge and tactical mind, and level 3 we'll get our martial archetype. We'll go with champion, getting improved critical and remarkable athlete. That seems like a good martial baseline. Time for the Taoism. We're now going to multi-class the wizard, getting ritual adept and arcane recovery. We get 3 cantrips, taking prestidigitation for effects, thunderclap for a shockwave, and true strike to put some woe in our sword. We'll also get 4 spells, taking mage armor for better AC and shield to block. We'll also take Thunder Wave for a palm strike and magic missile for illusory swords. By the way, not sure this series knows what illusory means. Must be a translation thing. Just saying, those illusory swords seem awfully real. At level 2 we'll get Scholar, expertising Arcana and taking Jump to Jump Good. At level 3 we'll get our Arcane Tradition, taking Blade Singing for performance and Blade Song. We'll also take Mirror Image for the essence of sword. At level 4 we'll raise our dexterity and then take Blade Ward to fill the slot. We'll also take Hold Person for pressure point paralysis. At level 5 we'll get Memorize Spell and take Spirit Shroud to put more woe in our sword. We'll also take Lightning Bolt for a piercing key shot. At level 6 we'll get the Blade Singer extra attack and take Haste for speed. At level 7 we'll take Fly because he basically can do that, and at level 8 we'll cap our dexterity. We'll also take Dispel Magic for that thing he did fighting Kunye. At level 9 we'll take Animate Objects. I'm pretty sure I saw Shen Qiao do this. We'll also take Steel Wind Strike for Sky Flashes. At level 10 we'll get Song of Defense and take Friendship for the slot and Longstrider for speed. At level 11 we'll take Enhance Ability for Super Taoist feats. Lastly, at Fighter and Wizard levels 4 and 12 we'll take the boons of Combat Prowess and Spell Recall, raising intelligence. Now that we're level 20, we finally have our modifiers. Our AC with Mage Armor is 18, our move speed is 40, and our average HP is 155 with 4d8, 4d10, and 12d6 hit dice. And with that, we are done. Of course, you need 2 halves to make a whole celerity. Using the standard point rate with the 15 to charisma, he's the typical sexy seductive bad boy tempting you to the dark side. But seriously, he has some moments that are just straight aura. Next we'll put the 14 to dexterity, the man's got hands. Oh sure, he gets a sword, the Dongua covered that moment. But he doesn't actually use the sword in the Dongua, and since the Dongua is all I have to work with, our man's throwing hands. At 1013 in constitution, he shrugs off multiple stab wounds. We'll put the 12 into intelligence, he's got some plans brewing, and then the 10 to strength. Lastly, we'll dump wisdom. His entire dynamic with Shen Qiao that I've seen is Shen Qiao politely rejecting his advances and Yan Wushi not taking the hint. Again, I've only got the Donkor to go off of. Those 2 wiki sites I mentioned didn't even include plot summaries. Of course I know they get together, I'm just working with what I got here. For species, we're going to go with human again, getting resourceful, athletics, and the tough feats. We'll make another custom background, putting our increases into charisma and constitution. We'll also take acrobatics and deception, calligrapher supplies, and the savage attacker feat. Moving on to class, we're going to start off as a bard.
But Nephilim, shouldn't he be a sorcerer or a warlock?
Ah, but you see, bard is actually the perfect choice because he's super charming and is good at a lot of stuff. And, okay, look, you want a giant flaming bird? Because this is the only class that can give us one that runs on charisma. Seriously, for some reason, neither sorcerer nor warlock get conjure elemental. What a weird spell to gatekeep. Anyway, we'll get charisma and dexterity saving throws and take arcana, intimidation, and religion for skills. We'll also be proficient with light armor, simple weapons, and 3 instruments. We'll take the dulcimer, the flute, and the hand drum. Don't ask why, just know that it is for dirty reasons. At level 1, we'll get bardic inspiration and 2 cantrips. We'll take vicious mockery for smack talk and starry wisp for shooting fingers. We'll also get 4 spells, taking thunder wave for a palm strike, long strider for speed, featherfall because of his fall damage, and charm person. At level 2, we'll get jack of all trades and expertise deception and acrobatics. We'll also take cure wounds for pressure point healing, plus whatever he was doing to Shen Qiao in episode 9. Or was that just him trying to put his evil spirit inside him? And no, that is shockingly not an innuendo. At level 3, we'll get our Bard College, taking the College of Dance for dazzling footwork. We'll also take Hold Person for pressure point paralysis again. We're now going to multi-class the fighter, getting medium armor, shields, and all weapons. At level 1, we'll get second wind in our fighting style, taking blind fighting. We're just not going to need unarmed fighting. We'll also get weapon mastery, which we'll ignore. At level 2, we'll get action surge and tactical mind, and level 3, we'll get our martial archetype. We'll take champion again, getting improved critical and remarkable athlete. Back to Bard. At level 4, we'll take the Warcaster feat, riding charisma. We'll also take Thunderclap for a shockwave, as well as enhanced ability for super hooligan feats. I can't remember who calls Yan Wushi a hooligan, but I'm pretty sure it was Shen Qiao. At level 5, we'll get D8 inspiration and font of inspiration, and take 8 for HP and fear. At level 6, we'll get inspiring movement and tandem footwork, still should have been an extra attack, and take heroism for morale. At level 7, we'll get counter charm and draw a blank, and at level 8, we'll raise our dexterity. We'll also draw another blank, saving up for level 10, baby. At level 9, we'll expertise arcana and intimidation and take animate objects. I know for a fact that he does this, it's in episode 5. We'll also draw another blank. At level 10, we'll get D10 inspiration and magical secrets. We'll also take prestidigitation for effects and conjure elemental for descending phoenix. We'll also swap a blank for fireball. Drop this directly in front of you for a literal freaking falcon punch. Like, I know he's not dead from that, I'm guessing his part of the celerity fixes his meridians like it did for Shen Qiao, but what a badass way to go out. At level 11, we'll get magic missile from our shooting fingers and swap a blank for shield to block. At level 12, we'll raise our dexterity again and swap our last blank for haste. This man goes fast. At level 13, we'll take fly, he also can basically do this, and at level 14, we'll get leading evasion. At level 15, we'll get D12 inspiration and take jump to jump good. Lastly, at Fighter and Bard's level 4 and 16, we'll take the boons of Combat Prowess and Spell Recall, capping Charisma. Now that we're level 20, we finally have our modifiers. Our AC with Dazzling Footwork is 19, our room speed is 30, and our average HP is 187 with 4d10 and 16d8 hit dice. And with that, we are done. Now what can these boys do? To start, both of these boys have great AC and mobility with a mix of ranged and melee capability. Shen Qiao is more melee oriented with damage reduction and single target damage. Yan Wushi on the other hand has AoE damage and a summon. For weaknesses, both men have multiple concentration spells to choose from. Also, Yan Wushi's a dance bard, so his melee is trash. He's also got a weakness to wisdom saves, which is ironic since Shen Qiao is the one who kept getting hold percent. Weaknesses aside, these two share a bond witnessed by the mountains and rivers. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you'd like to support my channel, there's a link to my Patreon down in the description. $1 a month gets you 2-day early access to my videos and access to all of my homebrew content. Let me know what you thought of these videos down in the comments, and I'll see you all next time when I make Vivian from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.